If you guys need any cards, packs, sleeves, anything of that nature, shop on TCG Player using my affiliate link in the description. What's good, YouTube? Today we're coming at you with another episode of Edison All-Stars where we go over some competitive slash semi-competitive gameplay. Not sure why I do these because they always get garbage views, not gonna lie, but there's like a vocal minority out there that likes to watch them, so we're gonna be pandering a little bit. Today, specifically, we're going to be looking at the BCS games that I played yesterday. For those of you who don't know, Beast Mode, he's got his own Discord server, and holds these little tournaments pretty much every weekend. So I figured I'd enter one. They're just like single elimination brackets with like 32 to 64 players. So just like kind of small little things, but haven't entered a lot so far. So I figured I'd go ahead and play one. I brought the Enrise Kristyasworn list that I've showcased a couple times on the channel. So we're going to be seeing how I did in each of my replays. Round one, we were up against a frog player, which is kind of just really free, I'm not going to lie. This is just like one of the hardest counter matchups to frogs in the entire format, if not like the number one most cancerous one for them to play. So felt kind of bad, but it's just how it is. Here we just use our draw cards in our charge. Opened a decent hand, you know. Multiple green cards resolving on turn one is always good in this deck. I just go set Beckoning. I figure he'll try to Monarch it, assuming it's Beckoning. So I go just set it in the orange light, obviously. And then now the Beckoning's live, and we can just summon Krystia. Maybe I should have card deed first. Yeah, that's like reasonable. I don't know. It probably just doesn't matter because like it's game one and we just dropped Krystia on the opponent, and they're playing frogs, so yeah, it really probably doesn't matter, but it definitely doesn't matter because the game is just over. The game is just over because they didn't draw it out to Krystia. What can you do? So going to game number two. Game number two was a little bit odd, if I remember. I think in hindsight I might have made a small mistake. I think it was here. Yeah, I summoned Snipe Hunter here. And I think I actually should have waited, because I could have used this to set up Krystia. I was just like thinking they probably don't have a way to get over this that doesn't play into orange light, so I'll be fine. But like they could also just out it with like, I don't know, with Econ or whatever. Select Substitute, you know, a number of things. So I think maybe just not putting this in danger and then using it later to set up Krystia and then just win off that would have been probably the play. So yeah, that honestly probably cost me the game. I mean, you never know what would have happened because this ended up going a while, but it was definitely not the right call, I think, in hindsight there to just summon the Snipe Hunter and poke. It was definitely a bit greedy, I think. And yeah, I think most of my like mistakes with this deck were a result of just being a little bit too greedy in different ways. So here we're just poking with Shire. We had to Honest to get over the Vanity's Fiend, which is not ideal, but it's like okay. And now we're just in a really bad spot because we can't get to 4 fairies. We like went to 5 fairies, and now we're just like at 6 or something. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So we just like never found a way to set up at 4. Like if we could get one more, then we could drop Enrise and then drop Krystia, and we'd be like chilling. But we're not really able to do that. So we just drop Enrise out the Junkware to try and live a turn. I can like Mind Crush the Caius and just hope he's got a bunch of like frog brick nonsense, but not the case. So we are going to be going to a game number 3. Just like could not get the fairy count right in that game to start like doing Krystia stuff. And the early Snipe Hunter summon definitely contributed to that factor. Game 3, our hand is not great, but we have Dust Shoot. So it's just like, well, guess this is a Dust Shoot game now, you know? Oh, I hate this card. But yeah, we rip the opponent's swap or substitute because it was their only Treeborn access really. So now I'm thinking about how to play this. I actually set Shire to play around summon Caius because if he summons Caius, I'll just drop Gores, obviously. But the opponent like just sees through the mind game completely and summons Vanity's Fiend and hits over Shire, so I'm like, damn, that was kind of awkward. But now we got 2 Raikos and a Torrential, so like many different shots at outing this Vanity's Fiend, and we're just gonna go through with the first one. Now we have Krystia live, just sort of luckily off of that mill, and the game is pretty much over from this point. We know like 4 or 3 cards in the opponent's hand, and none of them do crap to Krystia. The opponent tries to set up this econ behind Swap Frog, but obviously that's not going to work because we have orange light. So the game is basically over for this from this point. I don't even know if there's anything they could draw, honestly. Yeah. Krystya once again just going to solo the frog deck. It's unfortunate. Yep. So that was that round 1 match. Oh, I didn't see they said something after. Does Enrise do anything here? Enrise usually does things after Krystya gets outed, but Krystya just didn't get outed, so... usually the play is you, like, set up your graveyard, and you Krystya, like, add back Enrise, and then when they out the Krystya, you have the follow-up play with Enrise. And then also it's, like, great for trade-in and stuff, but... Yeah, that didn't generally happen in this match. You pretty much always want to drop Krystya first for obvious reasons, because Enrise involves banishing a bunch of fairies. Like, late game... You can get up to like 7+ fairies and then banish for Enrise to make Krystya alive again, I guess. But yeah, just for buyouts. No, we're not driving buyouts here on the channel. I only own 3 copies of this card. I promise. Like, I could show you my binder. I don't know. I'm not generally into like market manipulation or whatever. It's just not my thing. Just like too much work buying and selling stuff, trying to make money that way. Like, I buy and sell cards, but I do not like. I don't try to. I definitely operate at a loss. You know, I'm definitely losing money overall on that transaction. So yeah, we're not manipulating the market here on the Carpath YouTube channel. Anyway, match number 2, we were up against. This was against some weird like Gigaplant thing. I don't even know how to describe it. So. Obviously, our hand is insane here, but we're about to get dust shooted, so it's a bit of a I don't know, double-edged sword. That's not quite the right term. But yeah, we get dust shooted. They take Herald, which may have been wrong. I don't know. I guess like I just took that to mean that the set was a Raikou or a Hamster, so I play around set Raikou by setting the play, and unfortunately, our draws and our mills weren't great, so we kind of have to like pray for a couple turns here, you know. We go set Raikou. We draw card D, which is nice. We Raikou the back row. So now, if we card D and draw Krystya, the game's basically over. But we do not find the Krystya. We draw a bunch of bland nonsense. So, yeah. We summoned Lila because I wanted to threaten the back row. And I think that was right. I could have summoned Trooper and then like tried to mill Krystya this turn so the beckoning would be live on their turn, but instead I do this and they Geki break my Lila. I don't know if this was right. Maybe Summon Trooper was right instead, but yeah, that's how it ends up. So here I make a very like weird greedy play that kind of lost me the game, in that I wait to Beckoning Light till my turn because I figure like if the back row is anything except Solemn, then we just win the game here. But maybe I would have just won the game anyway with double JD. Probably. So I'm not sure if it was right to just end phase Beckoning. Obviously here it would have been right because like the fact that it gets judgmented just immediately loses me the game. But yeah, I didn't know he had that. Maybe I should, if I just done an end phase, obviously I would have won the game because like I would have just summoned JD and then he's like can't even judgment it or he's gonna die. So yeah, I guess the way I did this did technically lose me the game for sure. So the opponent just goes Thought Ruler and we are dead. So a couple maybe small mistakes in that game. Most of my misplays were honestly relatively minor, but they were definitely me doing some like questionable greedy stuff. So yeah, obviously we have a good opening this game, but once again we're getting dust shooted on turn 1. Very tilting, because we would have just like, I don't know, probably summoned Krystya or something, but we just get dust shooted again. It's like, god damn it. Hate this card, man. Hate this card. So, oh yeah, this is a weird thing where he dust shooted, and then I heavied like half a second later. So I decided to reset the heavy, and he's cool with it. And it's just like, I guess we each know the other player's back row, so it's fair and all that. I do set this. Yeah, I kind of just mind gamed him there, honestly. Worked out pretty well. I didn't really think it would work out that well, but we hit over the token. We set the Raikou. I do get rid of the Divine Wrath so that he can't Divine Wrath my Raikou, and also just in case this is Raikou, which it turns out to be. Then they go Gigaplant, hit over, and now we're just praying to draw JD. There are 2 still in my deck, but we don't find it. In fact, we don't find any out to Gigaplant whatsoever, so feels bad, I guess. Yeah, here we're just passing. Fortunately for me, they play around Gores here, which means if I do top deck JD, I can afford to pay for multiple activations. And so now we have the Cold Wave JD, but I do another little throw here, which you might not think is a throw, but actually definitely kind of lost me this game, which is I set the Arcus in main 2, and yeah, there's basically no reason to do this because we're under Cold Wave, so we just can't lose to, like, Brain Control. In fact, even if he could Brain Control, I would still lose because we can't even Orange Light that. So I don't really know what I was thinking here. Obviously, if we just held this, the next turn we have guaranteed Game Shot with JD, pay 1,000, then, you know, stack for Plague, make Android Catastrophe, poke for game. But because of that, we don't, and then we just lose to this Mark of the Rose next turn. So, yeah, definitely a little. This was probably the biggest misplay, I think, out of all of them, and that ends up costing us the game. Obviously, we had some tough breaks here with the Dust Shoot both games, and the having the back row be exactly Solemn when I chose to not play around it being exactly Solemn. But there were definitely some mistakes on my part that ended up losing me these games as well. I think my opponent just played better than me, to be honest. Anyway, obviously, this is a single limb, as I mentioned, so we lose one game, we are out. We ended up 1-1, which is, you know, whatever. Not the end of the world, not good either. So, I don't know how to think about how the deck performed. I think I definitely, in hindsight, made a couple little mistakes. Really, we were drawing reasonably well in all of my games. But the small little misplays, just being like a little too greedy in certain situations, definitely cost me big time in terms of those games that I did lose. So, yeah, it was definitely neat to play in one of those BCS tournaments and actually get some competitive games in with this deck that I've been playing a good bit recently. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and I'll see you next time. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Furthermore, if you enjoy my content, you should think about becoming a channel member. You get access to tons of bonus content, and it's a great way to help support the channel.